Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. It is Tuesday. That means we'll have Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. We'll also have Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. He was at the basketball game last night. Gators beat Grambling. Get his thoughts on that and everything else regarding basketball. Missed it last night. The Dolphins get a win out in LA in Monday Night Football. And we have college football tonight. We got MACtion. I think 3 games from the MAC and tons of college basketball as well. Let's go to the Titan MR hotline courtesy of Comfort Temp, and we are joined by the host of the Buddy Martin Show, Buddy Martin. How we doing, buddy?
Morning, Shane. I'm doing okay. I'm ready to get back to football, and it's a little tough with all the other things going on. But you know what? I think LSU is maybe becoming Florida's second biggest rival behind Georgia. And there's a lot to be thinking about this weekend, depending upon what kind of team Florida can put on the field based on what Billy said last night. Apparently, there are going to be some guys there that weren't there last week, and including DJ Lagway. Looks like he might get in the game. So I'd like to see it be at least a competitive game.
Well, I think we all do. I think it will be tough. LSU, it's weird how college football is now because their season they can't win the national championship. That's done. And there's only a handful of teams that can, but there will not be in the 12-team playoff. So now how do they rebound after their loss to Alabama coming to the swamp? And should be a good one. But I wanted to ask you before we get more into Gator football talk, did you happen to see the press conference or where the athletic director at Utah just rolled into the press conference after their loss to BYU, what he said, how much he got fined? Have you ever seen an athletic director do that in all your years?
I have never seen it, and I said at the moment I saw it, he will live to regret this day. Somebody should not let him up there, and it was embarrassing to him, his school, and college football. You can't go up there and say we got screwed by the officials, especially if you're the AD. That was horrible.
Yeah, I've never seen it either. So Joe says the Dolphins are the only team in the state of Florida to win this past weekend. Yep. If they would have lost,
13-1 was it, Shane? I don't know. Somebody said that. Maybe you said it.
Well, all the college teams lost and all the NFL teams had lost except for the Dolphins, and they won last night.
Yeah, about that. Yeah. I watched a little bit of that last night.
Wolf Gator says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. We need to start winning these games versus LSU. We used to hammer them, and LSU is 11-3 against us of late.
Yeah.
Always close, crazy games.
Yeah. They need to start winning a lot of games. LSU.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. We talked about on your program last night. We just have not won a lot of football games in the last few years.
Yeah.
And I think people are frustrated. I totally get it. Something has got to change.
I mentioned that I thought BK was a little mouthy, Brian Kelly, and that he is not what he promised. Scott Woodward is not a genius that everybody hailed him to be. He did not hire a national championship when he got Brian Kelly, although he led us to believe that narrative. They thought he could do it with money. Fact is, he's a good coach. He's not a great coach, and he's 26-10. And I mentioned that to you last night. You said, I'll take 26-10.
You're damn right I would. Yeah. You wouldn't take 26-10, buddy?
I would, but I think we talked your aspirations for the top level. That's not the idea. That's a notch above mediocrity. Look, it's an improvement. Would I take it right now? Yeah. Would I take it 5-10 years from now? I don't know if I would or not. I'll take what Steve Spurrier had. I'll take some of that.
Yeah, but I will say
that you asked me. You asked
I agree, but the landscape of the conference has changed since then.
I get it. I understand that, but I still say that that Billy Napier didn't come here with the expectations of making $10 million a year, the expectations of winning a national championship the first couple of years. And they kind of did at LSU. So it's what your expectations are. As you point out, expectations have been backed up a little bit. Since then, you'll take less and we settle. People say, well, are you guys going to settle for that in Florida? Well, no, but there is a transitional period. There's a lot of teams and schools that have gone through these. The Florida's not by itself here. And some of them dropped off the map. And when that happened, Florida hadn't done that. Am I happy about it? No. Do I think they can do it better? A lot better. Do I think Billy can do it? I don't know.
Right. But again, I would take 26-10 right now because they're LSU 6-3. They're probably going to end up 9-3. I think every Gator fan in the world would take 9-3 year in and year out. I know I would.
Is that what Scott Woodard wanted when he paid him $10 million a year?
Yeah, I guarantee you. I mean, there are people going to complain whether people ran the head ball coach out of here when they were winning 10 games a year. So fans are going to complain. But I can promise you, if we won 8, 9, 10, 11 games a year, anywhere in that frame of numbers right there,
well, I want to put it in context. Let me put it in context here. I hear what you're saying. I know it. But that's not what your aspirations are. That's okay, good for now, and you like to have that. But is that what Florida football needs to be, 26-10? What was Mullen's record when he got fired? I forgot.
It wasn't 26-10.
No, I said, but at one point he had him on top. By the way, do you realize how long it's been since Shoegate? It seems like yesterday. I looked it up today and read it over and refreshed my memory. And that's just been since 2020. It's not like it would happen 10 years ago. And yet the separation continues with Florida and LSU. So, but the separation continues with almost everybody. And you can't justify by saying, well, look at Florida State, how bad things are. Rumors now already starting about Dion, et cetera. Norvell had to fire 3 assistant coaches. There are going to be some changes made there as well. So it's that season when coaches get beheaded.
Wolf Gator says this, see if you agree with this, buddy. He says, this is on YouTube, brought to you by Clock On. He says, I agree with Frank Frangie. Bad years, 8 wins. Good years are 9 to 10 wins and competing for the playoff every year.
Okay.
I mean, I'm asking, do you agree with that or no? I agree with that 100%.
Somewhat, yeah. I'm thinking that I don't know if we can have an Indiana here again or Spurrier or Florida here again. I don't know. But you have to, it almost seems like with Billy's system, the way he goes about it, it's more incremental. That's not going to happen overnight. That's going to take some time. That's why I think it was probably it was a good decision. Let him coach another year, see if he can do it. Because restructuring now, you can't have another bloodbath and you can't keep assassinating coaches, expecting it anywhere. So you got the one you got the hand you were dealt. You made the decision. Scott Strickland will live or die with it, and he may die. I don't know. But I think Billy is a good enough coach to deserve one more chance because, as we said last night, there's no one person I can identify that can save this program right now. I know you think it's Lane Kiffin, and maybe it is. I favor not the house cleaning right now, but if next year it's the same, obviously I do. Everybody has a different. Frank Frangie's probably pretty close to accurate, yeah. But we grew up at a time when 9 wins was not enough under Spurrier and Merritt. That was horrible.
Well, but you got to remember in today's world, if you're winning 9 or 10 games, you're probably going to the playoffs. That was back in the BCS where there's only 2 teams. If you look at Coach Spurrier's 12 years, now granted, I try to tell people this too. The SEC has changed. The Mississippi States, the Ole Misses, the Kentuckys, those teams you could chalk them up as easy wins. They ain't easy wins anymore. Okay.
True.
But if you win 9 games, you're probably close to winning 10, and you are going to be in the mix for the 12-team playoff. And I firmly believe we should win minimum of 8 games every year. That's my opinion.
You think 9 will get you in the playoffs? I don't know.
No, I'm saying if you're at the 9, if you're at that threshold,
competitive,
that means you're 1 game, a punt return or a field goal from going to 10 games. I'm saying you're in the hunt. We have a chance. There is no chance at the moment right now. If
No,
you
I get
get
it.
to 9 wins, you have a chance to make the playoffs because you have a few more games left to get to 10. So anyway, um, Reggie says based on Napier's record, he will get to 9 wins in 2 years.
Okay. We'll see. No, he won't because he won't be here in 2 years.
Uh, Shane Barney says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, Shane, you're right, and no one in the media has said it. 2025 was never mentioned in the announcement, but the media have all said he's coming back next year. And again, he might. They may just didn't over they oversee it, I guess. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I just thought it was unique because I read it twice and I go, it says
Yeah, I've
nothing in
heard
here
that from
about
several people.
2025.
Yeah. Yeah, I had several of my listeners say the same thing, and I understand it too. I'll put it this way: he didn't get fired. Okay, he didn't get fired yet, so I think he's coming back.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, I would lean that way, but who knows? All right, text on the Titan MR text line 407 says, Shane, it looked to me like Aiden Warner sees the play too late. By the time he throws, the defender's already there. He either gets crushed or Warner overthrows him by 50 feet. Is this nerves or is it really just not that good? Look, I think people need to remember he's a walk-on quarterback who transferred here probably because he had an opportunity to graduate from the University of Florida. Now, he was at Yale. I probably would have left Yale too because it's probably too damn difficult to take classes there. But I think people are making way too much about the quarterback. I mean, look, we are what we are. This is not Aiden's fault. All right. He's playing as best he can.
Well, timing is, you told me the timing's there. He hadn't had enough reps to have the timing.
Well, you can have, I mean, you can have hundreds and thousands of reps. Sometimes you are what you are.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I didn't think he played poorly. He had 2 interceptions. Neither one were his fault.
Yeah.
Both balls were tipped.
Yeah.
But look, he's not an SEC quarterback. I don't know what else to say. It's not his
I
fault.
think the larger question people are asking was how could you get down to three quarterbacks?
Because nobody in America other than Ole Miss that I'm aware of has 3 quality
No,
quarterbacks.
but maybe you ought to have 2.5. I don't know. I mean, I would think.
Well, we had 2. They both got hurt.
And this is the half. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, somebody can send me the stats of a team that has 3 solid quarterbacks that you have actually seen play football. Georgia has about 3 or 4 5 stars, but we've never seen them play football. We saw Brock Vandergrift go play football at Kentucky, and he ain't very good. And he's a
Well,
5-star.
there are teams that have discovered guys, Shane Matthews, Kermit Bell, remember
Yeah, but
that.
buddy, that's 40 years ago. The guys don't sit around and wait.
Don't they play football pretty much the same way that they did 40 years ago? I mean, they still
No, because if you look before the transfer portal, kids, if you sign with the school, you had to stay at that school. Now you could transfer, but you were penalized. There's no penalty now to transfer, and it is going to be impossible to have 3 legitimate scholarship top level quarterbacks. I just don't see it happening. Because you got to pay them too, buddy. You
Some
got to
ways
think
it
about
might
it.
be easier. It could be easier. You got more opportunities.
What's
I
that?
No one. You make calculated risk. You have 2 quarterbacks who are starting material. You never think you're going to lose 2. But now, do you need to be a little more aware of that? Do you have somebody trained up? I like the way Florida used to do their quarterbacks under Mullen. They all 3. Maybe they still do it.
Buddy.
They used. Let me finish. They used to work them all with the ones every day.
They do the same thing here.
I said I don't know if they do this.
Yes, they do.
I like the way you did.
They do the same thing.
I don't get to see practice. I'm not among the privileged like you to get to go out and see it. But anyway, the point is, I think what I'm speaking on behalf of the people here. I think they said, how did we get to this position where we have a quarterback that's a walk-on from Yale? That's the larger question.
Because a kid that's going to be a third stringer, A, he ain't going to hang around if he's a solid player. B, you got to pay him. You're not going to pay your third string quarterback. You got to use that money elsewhere. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Chris says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, Shane, speaking of Curl, why do you suppose he's struggling at Western Carolina? I don't know if they're struggling. What's their record? I think it's 500. He lost all his best players are playing at Pitt. Cade took them all. And they're leading, some of them are leading the ACC in receiving and all-purpose yards.
Hmm.
So, Shane also says Billy has recruited one high school quarterback in 3 years, and that's Lagway. So,
Yep.
anyway, I don't think we need to. I mean, we're sitting here wasting time talking about third and fourth string
I
quarterbacks.
agree. But that's what people are talking about. So
Yeah. All right, this is Tommy on the Titan Mar text line. He says, I don't mean for this to be long, but coming from a kid in the 70s to a young man watching what Pell built in the 80s, violations aside, to what Spurrier lit a furnace under in the 90s, then what Urban was able to just blow up in the 2000s. It's so sad to watch a systematic dismantling of football program over the last 14 years. I feel bad for the players, the fans, and the students.
I get that. I
I don't
understand.
disagree with that.
No, I get it. And I would agree that it is, but it is what it is. And I don't know. I mean, they made the decision to hire Billy. Was he the right guy? Maybe not. I don't know. It's a coach he hired. The long-term development thing. Shane, we've had conversations here in the last 3 or 4 years. They got to get better facilities. You used to say it all the time. They
Yeah.
got
We were the
they,
last and pretty much the last to do it.
yeah, and but they got it and they got everything they needed, and it hasn't clicked in. Now, in fairness to Billy, this year he got a rash of injuries that was not expected.
I've explained this a million times about the facilities, okay? I've harped on it for 15 years. We finally got it, Scott Strickland finally got it built.
Mhm.
As soon as we moved into the building, NIL hit. Okay, think about that.
Yeah.
We weren't ready for it. So now, is the facility as important as NIL? No, it's not. You have to have it, but the timing has been just horrendous. Horrendous.
Great point. I agree.
Frank says on the Titan Mar text line, shouldn't the Gators run the ball and try to keep LSU off the field the way we did the second half against
I
them?
think they will. I think
Yes,
they'll
but
try.
here's what people fail to realize. Texas did not have a lot of their starters in the game in the second half. But yes, we need to keep I think LSU's offense is very good. I don't care what happened against Alabama or any of that stuff. I think they're very good throwing the football
They're susceptible to the run on defense, so
from the quarterback.
the run defense is not good, the LSU's. So we'll see. But I mean, I think given what Florida has back, if everybody comes back they're expecting, including Montreal, et cetera, and the wide receivers, et cetera, they could create a wrinkle. There was a 4-point game playing in the swamp. I don't know. I think it could be competitive. And again, it's about depth this time of year. We've said it 1,000 times. Now it's November. Now it's depth. Now it's your
We
squad.
have no depth.
And, well, nobody else does either, really, to be honest with you. But Florida didn't have any. You're right.
Well, I failed to mention this on your show when we were talking about Ole Miss beating Georgia because I think Ole Miss is the best team in America right now.
Yeah.
Do you know Ole Miss won that game without their top receiver and their top running back? They were
I,
both out.
I did not.
Yes, they have dudes. Um, okay, let me get to Florida Victorious, proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators, joined today to help make Florida victorious. We've got Buddy Martin here. We'll talk with Kevin Brockway, second portion about a little we'll talk a little football, but we'll also talk mostly basketball with Kevin, get his thoughts on the game last night. And I think the Gators play in Tallahassee Friday night, I believe.
They do. And it'll be interesting to see how Todd Golden's greeted there. You know, they can't wait to get their boos out there. By the way, he was not booed at all, apparently, what I'm getting from last night. So I guess, have accepted that as being what it is, the whole thing. Can I just get it back to LSU on one thing?
Uh-huh.
I mean, do you remember you were here when they had the shoe gate, right?
Well, yeah, I saw Marco
Okay.
throw the shoe.
Yeah, but it was just one of the most, I revisited it today. It was one of the most odd nights I've ever been. One of the most odd nights in the swamp. Incredible. Remember the odd bounces of the ball? I mean, I even forgot the Mullen and Orgeron with the coaches, but they lost 37-34. Marco ripped the shoe off of Cole Taylor. Probably that'd be a great trivia question. Whose shoe was it? And they won on a 57-yard, remember? Field goal by Cade York through the fog. It was so foggy you couldn't even see whether it went in or not. I was there with 23 seconds to go. And Florida was number 6 in the nation. They lost 37-34. That was a bitter defeat for the Gators.
Yeah, it was not a good one. There's no question about that. Yeah, very disappointing. Um, I'm laughing at some of these comments. Okay, buddy. So LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State. Gators need to win two of them to try to get bowl eligible.
Mhm.
Is it possible?
Possible, not probable. I'll give them FSU because I think that program's in shambles. I think the best chance they're going to have is Saturday. They're not beating Ole Miss. So, in my opinion, they got to get some magic. Something's got to happen. DJ's got to have a big, got to have Language got to have a big night, and they got to run the football and play defense and shut down Nussmeier, who, by the way, you kept saying I think was the best quarterback in the league, didn't you, for a while?
Well, I think he's a really good player. I don't care how he's been playing. I just think he has all the intangibles you can't teach. He's got great anticipation. Now he forces a lot of balls, tries to make too much happen. We'll see how he plays in the swamp. But Jackson Dart's playing outstanding too.
He is, right? But
So
he was called the best quarterback in the league up until 2 weeks ago. But anyway, you're right. LSU, they got a good football team. It may be Texas and Ole Miss. I don't know. Playing
I
for
do
'em.
think those are the two best teams. However, as I mentioned on your show last night, Ole Miss has about 0% chance of going to Atlanta, which is
Yeah,
in their favor.
a good thing. Yeah, good thing. Yeah,
They beat Florida and they beat Mississippi State. They will be in the 12-team playoff.
yeah. I think you're right. Can I ask you something about fans, just to get your take on something?
Hmm.
You know, this seems to be, and I don't want to sound like an old funny that because I get how exciting it is for Vanderbilt to win and some of these programs. It's a great win for Ole Miss against Georgia and whatever. But it seems like, and maybe it's just me, we're seeing more and more of students rushing the field, which I understand why it's exciting. But at Ole Miss, they were rushing the field before the game was
Well, the
over.
problem is because the fans weren't paying attention. Jackson Dart, they went victory formation. They needed to snap it one more time, but the fans just hauled ass out on the field.
That's my point. And now we're seeing more and more the field storm around the league. More and more, we're seeing goalposts torn down. And I get the excitement. But, pretty soon, we're going to start measuring this against what is fandom, what's worth it, and what's hooligans, like they had in Britain in soccer, the hooligans element. And I'm a little concerned. A lot of alcohol being consumed. Things happen. It looks to me like it's getting, I mean, how come, when's the last time Florida Field was stormed?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
I haven't either. I'm asking somebody like Andy
But I
out.
can tell you this, if the fans decided to storm it, there's nothing they can do. That's the thing. You
Well,
got security around every stadium has the security around it, but these dudes can't stop thousands of people running on the
they
field.
did. Jeremy Foley did that successfully, I will say. I remember seeing, remember December of the swamp overwhelmed, and they were able to maintain that. I don't know how, but they did. And I go back a long way. I have seen it way back before you were born. Believe it or not, I remember a 3-3 tie when FSU had a tie at Florida Field and they stormed Florida Field. That's early in insult. You have the other schools storming your field. So I don't know. I just think it's something to check and think about. The fact is that there's a fine line between great, passionate fans and hooliganism. Let's be careful we don't get there. And I think we're starting to approach that threshold. Again, I know I'm an old fuddy duddy. I like to see the college game exciting. I'd like to see the fans getting into it, the students. But I'm just raising that question to see, in fact, what's going to happen. At least at the swamp, it seems like there's more organized chaos. At least they have their chaos is a little more organized. And I think the fans are conducting themselves very well at the swamp, man.
All right, Robert's text here from Fort Myers. Tell me what you think about this text, buddy. He says, it's on the Titan Mar text line. Just win games and everything else will follow. The money, the recruiting, the stadium upgrades, etc. You've got to win on the field first.
Well, that's the chicken and egg theory, isn't it? Which comes first? I mean,
Oh,
if you win, you get that, and but you don't necessarily can't win if you don't have the money and have that stuff. You have to buy. You've said it. You got to buy the players.
Well,
So,
yes, but my having said that is good players who want to get paid want to go play and win games.
mhm.
So I don't know. I don't have the answer. Well, I do have an answer. It's my my theory, but doesn't matter. This says we don't storm the field because we have been there and done that. Most of the teams that storm the field don't have a history of winning big games. Yes and no.
Like that.
I don't have a problem with them storming the field. I think it's kind of cool, quite honestly. I mean, those people pay a lot of money to go watch those games. They want to have fun.
Well, they're not going to have to be able to keep doing it every week. They just can't. I mean, it's
Joseph says, hang on, this dadgummit Facebook thing. Joseph says, where'd it go? I think it was for you, buddy. Thought he said, I'll find it here in a second.
all right. While you're doing that, I'll bring up the fact that Rex Grossman is back in the swamp as Mr. Two-Bits this weekend.
Sure is.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I saw a take on it where he said he didn't know if he's going to wear that yellow shirt or not. He might wear something else.
No, he's wearing it. He's wearing it.
Is
Yeah.
he?
Joseph says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melon Law, the season isn't over yet, buddy. But when Lane comes in and hangs 50 on us, you'll hear the fans.
Well, no doubt, and it could happen. I'm not denying that. I'm not responsible for that. I mean, yeah, he's a good football coach. He's got a good football team. We'll see. I'm not going to defend Billy. I'm defending him all I can to a point where I become a cheerleader if they say, well, you're just too much of a cheerleader. You're a homer, whatever. Okay. I've said my piece on that, and it is what it is.
So Jerry says, QB, you said you don't want to be the coach. I would love to be the coach, but I don't. Not at my age. Would you consider taking the AD job? No, I have no experience in that. It's funny. I was talking to Coach Spurrier on the bus. I was like, Coach, everybody wants you to be the AD. He goes, nope, nope, nope. I'll be the AD for the track team, the baseball team, and the softball team, and maybe gymnastics, because they all win.
Yeah, I was talking last night. Dan Bond is a big fan. He came on this after you did. He's a huge fan. He really follows softball and gymnastics really, really close. And he said he's not worried about the spring. It's going to be a good one, the gymnastics and the softball team. And your bud Tim Walton looks like he's loaded again.
They are loaded, and the problem is Oklahoma is in our conference now.
Well, he says Dan says he thinks Florida's got a chance against Oklahoma.
Well, we do. They come to our ballpark. All right, buddy. Before we let you go, Mark says Rex had the strongest arm of all. I think Rex was the best quarterback I've seen at Florida. J&J Trucking, he wants to know, buddy, do you think Billy gets fired before Strickland?
If he gets fired, and all coaches do, I would say that yes, he would go first, and then Billy would go next, and then Strickland would go next. The body of work. I mean, I'd say give a short answer. Yes, I'd say yes. Billy would get fired for. He's got to either do it or not. He got another year, then he better win 8, like Shane says, or 9, or he needs to go down the road. He's had his 4 years.
Yeah. All right. Last thing here, Wolf Gator on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Buddy, I think you need to do a story on this. He says, I'm hearing differing reports on how well our NIL is doing. Some say we are signing a good amount and that it is better and getting better. Would be nice someday to see what the salary breakdowns are.
Well, how do we do that?
I don't know. You're the journalist.
You can't go and look it up on a list someplace. This is privileged information. This is what you have to understand, folks, about reporters. They can't make stuff up. You can ask questions all day long. You don't get the answers half the time. I think you get less now than you used to. There is no place where you walk in the library and say, NIL, I'll look it up right here. It's a very difficult task to report what's going on. Kevin Brockway, who you got on, is a very good reporter. He's a bird dog. He goes after things. Extremely difficult to have any kind of clarity or any kind of honesty on things, and they just aren't going to tell you. It's a very, very hard thing to do today. That's like Chris Wallace said today. I read he said he's quitting the mainstream media because it's not relevant. Sometimes you think it's not relevant because nobody wants to answer your question. People say, well, ask this, you can ask all you want to, but unless they want to answer it, they aren't going to. And there you go. That's what it is. It's your job to ask the question. Whatever comes after that is not your responsibility.
Okay, Walter says this on Facebook Live. Did Ole Miss win first? Well, Ole Miss used to win a lot back in the 60s, if we want to go back.
Of course, they won national
Yes,
championship.
yeah. Says
Ball.
they beat a few teams, but not champion caliber, and it's going to be the same at Florida. Give them Billy the money to buy better players and create depth, and we will start seeing wins. I hear you, but I don't hear you because look, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong and throw up the stats because I'm not going to look them up. But I don't know if Lane's had a losing record in any of his years at Ole Miss. Maybe year one. But they've been winning 8, 9, 10 games every year at Ole Miss. Did they spend money? Yes, but it took time. This is their all-in year. They went out and raised a lot of money for about 6 or 7 positions. And I know this for a fact. That's what they did because they thought this was the team that they had a chance to make a run. And I think they do.
Why? Because they had the QB. They had the QB in Montgomery.
Well, they got a lot of good skill guys too.
They do now, but they were building around the QB, and they've got some good backs. And so, yeah, you're right. I agree with that. This is supposed to be a better year for Florida too. It didn't happen that way.
Yeah, Tony says coaches still have to coach the roster. I agree. Got
to build a roster too.
Mark said, "How do they find out Beck is getting $3 million a year?" That's just what all the Georgia people say: $3 million a year and driving a Lamborghini.
Yeah. Well, you can
all
see.
Right, let's see if Kevin. Okay, Kevin Brockway's waiting. My fault, buddy. We got to run. Who you got on your program tonight?
Yeah, Lauren Meadows has got it tonight. He'll have Rob, and he'll have his usual gang. Lauren will be a good show tonight. So check it out. Same time, 9:00. Buddy Martin show with Lauren Meadows doing the hosting.
All right, that's Buddy Martin. We appreciate Buddy joining the program. We'll take a quick timeout. Come back. We'll get Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun, talk a little hoops. We'll talk a little football with him as well. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back. Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. The Gridiron sponsors are Florida Cracker Kitchen, Comfort Tent, Peachland Dental, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Cogent Bank, UF Bookstores, Florida Victorious, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, like I said, I just want to have fun again. Miapa Latin Cafe, 84 Lumber, Baker Sporting Goods, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America,
pretty good
and
times,
Gator Bait Media. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. We got a hot mic. Listen to the podcast whenever you're on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor and advertise, call our man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. Back to the Titan MRI hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. It's Kevin Brockway. And Kevin, everybody just heard it. I'm tired of it. I want to have fun. The hot mic was on. I think all our listeners would have to agree with me there, right?
Oh yeah,
Aren't
yeah,
y'all exhausted talking about this crap and you want to have fun? All right.
exactly.
What do you think, Kevin?
No, you want to see, wins, and you want to see, obviously, no hints of scandal. But I will say that basketball on the court certainly looks, rather impressive. I think there's a lot of promise there, and certainly for football, the situation is. You thought coming out of the Georgia game, right, that at least they showed some, resolve and spunk, but it turned out that, then you look at the Georgia result in Ole Miss, and you take a look at how badly that Florida was throttled by Texas. I mean, down 42-0. It was just, I thought, and I know they're banged up, but I still thought kind of a embarrassing, lifeless performance there.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in the minority all year saying I didn't think our defense was very good. I still don't. Have they improved a little bit? Maybe 2%, but we'll see in the next 2 weeks. I like both of these quarterbacks coming in here. All right. We'll get back to football in a minute, Kevin. Basketball last night, beats Grambling. Your thoughts on the game? I didn't get to see it because it's on one of those networks I can't get.
SEC Network Plus.
Yeah.
Good balance. They had 5 guys in double figures, bunch of guys 7 to 9 points. Ruben Chinyelu, tied a career high, 14.7 of 8, was really active. Also blocked a few shots. Listen, I thought they played pretty well. The threes haven't really come yet from a percentage standpoint. They came into the game 24%, and they were about 30% in that game, like 30.8. But they're doing a lot of other things well. I think Shane and rebounded the ball really well in that Grambling State game, which was an issue. I think, the previous game going into Jacksonville, something that they were targeting and improving on. Alex Condon, I think, has taken a step forward. You look at him now. I mean, he was 10-8 last night. He was 23 against Jacksonville. He's another guy that I think is really taking a step forward. And so far, Walter Clayton has been okay at the point. He hasn't, had too many loud turnovers. He's had a few here and there. I mean, that's going to happen. But I think he's run the offense pretty well. And he's a guy that can score when he has to score and distributes when he has to distribute. And they've been decent. They were really good on the defensive end last night too, which I think certainly is bodes well, because that's an area where Todd wants to see improvement going into SEC play.
All right, so let's just move ahead. Friday, they play the semis in Tallahassee. I don't know anything about Florida State this year. In the past, they always have about 3 7-footers. They're usually long and athletic. Are they? And is this going to be a good or bad matchup, in your opinion, for the Gators?
Yeah, I think, FSU, they went to Houston and they beat Rice. And you're right. Leonard Hamilton's teams always are, have that athletic, that length, that wingspan. I think the question is, how much do they pressure the ball with Clayton? I think that's going to be the big key of the game. And, certainly, do they throw some wrinkles at him? Do they throw some traps and some, zone press or man press at him? If I were Florida, that's what I would do, just to try to test Walter Clayton a little bit and Denzel Aberdeen and see, how well they handle that. But, it'll be a nice early season test. Listen, FSU is not where they were 4 or 5 years ago as a program, where they were, knocking on the door of the Final Four under Leonard Hamilton. And I mean, that's an amazing story. Leonard Hamilton will be coaching forever. I mean, he was, coaching 30, 35 years ago when I was a student at, back in Miami back in the day. So he's an amazing story and quite a coach. And I would probably say that Leonard Hamilton is the best coach in college basketball that has not made it to a Final Four.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin, sticking with basketball, let's get to some of these questions and comments. Wolf Gator asked on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Shane, can you ask Brockway, how close was he to breaking the golden story before the student journalists that got the story? The writers of the story also were interviewed and said there is more to come.
Yeah, I can't get into too much specifics about my reporting on it. I will say right now that it's only allegations at this point, and that you can go back to the Title IX case with Antonio Callaway in 2016. I think you've got to let the process play itself out. with regards to that. And I do think that I think in due time, we will see, where the investigation leads. Now, obviously, Todd was asked about it last night, and he referred to a statement on Saturday, which is that he has engaged in a defamation lawyer, and that Florida is still having him coach the team, obviously. So I think that I think the facts will come out in due time with regards to that situation.
And this thing could drag on the whole season, right?
It could. I talked to a lawyer with regards to Title IX investigations, and they could take a while. I mean, when you look back at Antonio Callaway's situation as an example, I think it was the accusations were leveled in December of 2015, and the resolution came in August of 2016. So that was a time frame of 7 or 8 months. I think what happens is investigators, they're in the evidence gathering mode, obviously, and then. But, a lot has changed, Shane, in terms of Title IX policy with regards to giving more rights to the accused, due process. And as a matter of fact, there was a case even regarding suspending coaches with regards to that with due process, which I looked into whether that's the reason why Todd Golden is still coaching, but could not get confirmation from that from the University of Florida.
Florida Crackers, the brand for original Floridians, great food, southern hospitality in the center of the universe, Brooksville, Florida, floridacracker.com. We got Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun here talking a little Gator hoops and football on the Titan Emerald Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Jack's question for you on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Kevin, if at some point Florida decides to not have Coach Golden on the court pending the investigation, who would act as the head coach, and what is their background?
I would say that the two potential candidates would be Carlin Hartman and Kevin Hovde. Hovde is kind of the offensive coach for Todd, and he has been with him every step of the way. And Carlin, was formerly at Tulane, a little bit older, a guy that the players respect. I would say, and kind of works with the big guys and stuff. So I would say one of those two would be the likely candidate if that were to happen.
Gotcha. Justin says Golden is cooked. Get Strickland out of here. Golden might have indirectly saved our football program. We'll just have to wait and see with all that.
Yeah, I think it's a long way to go there. I know a lot of people want to rush judgment on this story, but I think that we have to let due process play out.
Yep. Way over my pay grade. I don't understand it all. Not worried about it. Just let it work itself out. All right, Kevin, I want to go back to football. Gators have 3 regular season games left. Home at LSU, home Ole Miss, at Tallahassee. A lot of people think LSU is very beatable. I'm not sure what they see. I think LSU is still a good football team. They have 3 losses. They beat a good Ole Miss team in overtime. Do you think DJ Lagway plays this week?
I don't think so. I still think that, I think a lot of this is gamemanship with Billy. He did say that he made a little bit of progress, but even a grade 1 or grade 2 hamstring, right, Shane? That's at least a 2 to 3 week injury. So
yeah,
I think that, like I said, I think that they are working him back, and I think best case, right, would be FSU maybe on that, or maybe Ole Miss. If they really can, but I think it'll be Aiden Warner again. And listen, I thought that he made a few good throws downfield. He obviously made some bad decisions. They're going to have to run the football with Jaden Baugh and Jacoby Jackson like they have the last couple of weeks, and that's been effective. And, that's the one thing I think that where they've shown a lot of growth this year, right, is their ability to run the football. Because if you remember in September, that was one of the areas where they were really lacking. And I think keep the ball out of Garrett Nussmeyer's hands and not make the mistakes. That's the key. You had 3 turnovers in that Texas game. When you're a team like Florida, you can't afford to turn the ball over and, give short fields in that situation. You got to be careful. And maybe as a result, you played even a little closer to the vest in this game. And LSU might, LSU's a team. LSU's defense, too, Shane, has some cracks in it. Obviously, Alabama exposed that. And, maybe you can do some things. Certainly, maybe show a little bit more than he did against the Texas defense, and I think it's pretty good.
I agree with that. Um, where was your question? The question here was regarding the DBs. I think our secondary is not going to be any different. You're not going to have Devin Moore and you're not going to have Jason Marshall Jr., right? I
Yeah.
mean, Marshall Jr. is out for the year. I'm assuming Devin Moore's done for the year as well.
Yeah, I mean, Billy is trying to say there's an opportunity for some people to come back this week, but he was a little coy. I mean, we get the injury report on Wednesday, but yeah, it's not looking good for either one, these next few weeks. So, I mean, you got Dijon Johnson, right? And then, on the other side, what do you do? Do you play Cormani? Do you play Triquez? It's so funny. A lot of these people, Cormani McLean is a 5-star talent, but I think we saw in the field in Texas, he's still got a lot to learn. Uh, he was turned around a few times, right, in that game, and wasn't, and obviously, listen, he had the pick six also against Kentucky, showed some promise there, big playability, but he's got a lot of development to do. Billy Napier was saying he wasn't ready, and I think that kind of showed on the field against Texas.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Injuries occur whenever and however, and it's never convenient for sprains, strains, and minor fractures. UF Health Ortho Care makes it convenient for you 7 days a week, including evenings. Walk-ins are welcome. That's UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. All right, Kevin, I want to get your thoughts, and I'm going to chime in on this. I feel like I talk about this every day. This is Chris from MIAC on the Titan MR text line. He says, we have good enough players to win if we have an elite play caller. Do y'all agree?
Listen, I wrote today actually, Shane, about whether Billy is going to hold on to the plays again, and I think there's this assumption that this was part of the conditions of him coming back for a fourth year, and I would say those ignore history condemned to repeat it. We were talking about this on last year, right? That Willie Corn was going to come in or whatever, and that they were going to bring in a play caller, and I think Billy is going to, fight tooth and nail to hold on to it, with regards to, he's going to say, hey, look, we had good chemistry with DJ Lagway like he did last year with Graham Mertz. And I mean, I don't know. You're more the expert, I think, Shane, on whether it makes a difference. I think Billy really seems like he wants to hold on to it.
Right. So here are my thoughts about that. Can somebody tell me who this elite play caller is going to come to the University of Florida? Somebody needs to give me a list, right?
Yep.
Give me a list of them. Secondly, this elite play caller, wherever he's calling elite ball plays at right now, obviously that team's doing pretty well. Would you say yes or no? Whoever this guy is.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's probably in a pretty good spot wherever this place is.
Yeah.
And he calls great elite plays the next few years. He may be a head coach somewhere. He says, okay, I'm going to go to the University of Florida. Great program, great brand, great fans, whatever. But I may only be there 1 year. Okay. If things don't go great and I don't call elite ball plays and we don't win, I'm fired. Now I got to go start back over at Louisiana Lafayette or Southern Miss or somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is these elite play callers, whoever they are going to want to bring their O-line coach, their running back coach, and their wide receiver coach. That's how it works. Okay. So I understand what people are saying, but there's a lot of moving parts here and decisions that this elite play caller, whoever it may be, and I'm not trying to be funny here, but I watch a lot of college football. The two best play callers in America are head coaches, Steve Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin. They ain't coming as a play caller. So yeah, I don't know what the answer is. I'm just trying to let people know like how it works. It's just not like we can pick up the phone and call Cliff Kingsbury. Hey, do you want to come call plays? Well, you know what I'm saying, Kevin?
Exactly. Unless you make him the head coach, maybe.
Right.
But God, Sark called some really nice plays.
Oh, so good. So good.
He did. Yeah. That pass to Gunnar Helm and stuff and everything. And hey, look, I asked Billy this also on the Florida side. Where are the tight ends? Why, you got Borningham and Hansen. Remember, they were using them very effectively in late September, early October. Why can't we get these guys more involved in the offense as well a little bit? I think that's something that, and I think Billy kind of agreed with me, but I get it. You're down to your third string quarterback. He's probably got a lot spinning in his head, but I think that's something you'd like to see the last 3 games, getting those two guys. It's especially how banged up they are right now at receiver too, with certainly Elijah Badger now out as well. DK, you got to give that guy credit, Chimere, for still playing hard, finding ways to get open. He's been kind of like the Ricky Pearsall this year. I'm not saying he's as good as Ricky, but he's had a really nice season, and he stayed the course and been really steady and been a leader and a guy that's come out after losses for us in the media and talked. So
Yeah. All right. Last thing before we get you out of here, a couple of these texts here. This is from Brian on the Titan Mar text line, he says the goal is championships, period. Napier's 15-19 and beat one rival in 3 years. Muschamp was 28-21, fired. McElwain 22-13, fired. Mullen 34-15, fired. Napier's 15-19 and got a vote of confidence. Your thoughts, Kevin?
Yeah, I just think it's a different era in college football with regards to that, and to be fair, none of those guys went to NIL, the transfer portal, all the craziness that's going on now. So I could see, of those guys, right, who was the only one that got under 4 years, that was Jim McElwain, and that's because he kind of spewed the death threat comment. So, I could see, giving him a full recruiting cycle, a full 4 years to see what he can do. But I think next year will be the hottest of hot seats, and there's going to have to be some turn and some results, and maybe, we have seen when he has played, DJ Lagway has potentially be the difference maker. And maybe and that's an important position. And we've seen that position certainly elevate programs. Jordan Travis at FSU and Cam Ward at Miami, maybe, with DJ in year 4 and you keep him healthy, and you surround him with a little bit more talent on both sides of the ball, maybe that's the year when it turns.
Possibly. We got great statisticians that look up stuff. This texter sent me Lane's records at Ole Miss. He went 5-5 his first year, 10-3, 8-5, 11-2, and he's 8-2 right now. Probably going to go 10-2. So 42-17 right now at Ole Miss. He says it's dang good. We would love to get him in Gainesville. I agree, but it's not going to happen. All right, Kevin, good stuff as always. Got any good stories you're writing on this week?
Yeah, I'll probably do a little, a lot more LSU preview stuff, and basketball stuff, and particularly probably something. I might have something down the pike too, interesting on a 20-year anniversary at Florida of a Florida State game that was of note back in 2004. That certainly was interesting. The day they dedicated Bobby Bowden Field.
Yeah. Speaking of Bobby Bowden, somebody on here said that, with Norvell getting rid of like 3 of his assistants on offense, they said they guarantee you Norvell hires a top qualified OC. Again, I don't know who that person is. Kevin, do you have anybody out there that you can think of, a top-notch OC that you would hire?
I mean, I've mentioned a few names in my column today, but they're, major reaches,
Who are they? I'm just curious.
From Penn State, obviously, but are they going to come? Where,
From Penn State to Florida?
Willie Klein from Oregon. Yeah.
The kid at Oregon, he played at Louisville.
Yep.
I think when Charlie Strong was there, he was like a walk-on. He's very good. But again, he's worked his way up to the totem pole. He was a high school coach in Texas. Then I think he went to UTSA, and now he's with Dan Lanning. He ain't coming to Gainesville.
Yeah, exactly. Are you going to get him here? Hinshaw at UCF, his star has kind of fallen, right? A little bit struggles this year.
So it's interesting. Tony says we need Lynn Amity back. Kevin, good stuff as always. Appreciate your time, my friend. Go get a nap.
Thank you, buddy.
That's Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Town. Appreciate everybody chiming in, watching the program today. Tell all your friends and family about our program. And we'll be here tomorrow, folks. Have a great day. Take care.